Hello everyone, and welcome to a Minecraft Bedrock Blaze Farm tutorial. To start things off, I'm on the CC realm here, just taking a look at the blaze farms that I've made. And blaze farms are the best way to gain experience, and in the Bedrock version of the game, this is the absolute best way to do it. So I want to tear this thing down and do a block by block tutorial for you guys, including the Minecart collection system, the lighting which shuts the spawner off, the crushing system, and then just the general basics of building a blaze farm. So let's hop over into creative and get this farm going. Alright, so here we are in my testing world, and I went ahead and built this structure here. This is what you will find inside the nether with the blaze spawner in it. Now I went ahead and put this blue ring of glass around the entirety of the blaze spawner, just showing you the radius in which the spawner is activated. So if we come here and we stand on the glass, you can see the spawner's off, and then when we pop inside it starts to catch on fire and spin, indicating that the spawner is active. So you have to be standing within the 16 block radius around the center of the farm to actually activate it. And that's just a good thing to know for when you are designing a kill chamber, an AFK spot, or coming and collecting all your materials and placing them in a chest. So you can see here we've got a few things laid out. This is most of what you need. I do have separation between the upper section of rails here and the lower section here. That's just for two different parts of the farm. These 64, 18 powered rails, 20 rails, and 2 activator rails are for the mob spawning platform, as well as the 14 levers. The bottom section of rails, 7 rails, 6 powered rails, 1 detector rail, 8 redstone repeaters, 4 redstone, 1 dispenser, 2 hoppers, cactus, piece of sand, and a half slab are for the minecart return and distribution center. For the lighting, you're going to need 24 observers, 48 sticky pistons, 24 redstone torches, 64 and 8 redstone repeaters, and 64 and 8 redstone dust. You also need a few more levers here. Just bring a stack. They're cheap, easy to craft. But anyway, getting started in this farm, you're going to need to brew yourself a fire resist potion. Blazes have a bug right now where they can one-shot you to death, and it's been something in Bedrock forever. Hope it gets fixed soon, but a fire resist potion will stop that. So I recommend coming into this, into your fortress with a bow, killing off some blazes, collecting their rods, and brewing up a potion. Now before we get started, you're also going to want 24 pieces of glowstone before taking on this spawner. Excuse me. So you pop your fire resist potion, come up here, and start digging these blocks out. As you're digging this out, obviously blazes will be spawning, so you can take them out and just collect a few blaze rods, as well as experience while you're doing this. But this whole bit of blocks needs to go away. I did not put any building blocks in the chest because you will be collecting quite a few from this, enough to build this farm. So we also need to punch out these 2 blocks here, and we can start placing in the glowstone. So to deactivate this spawner, we're going to want to surround it in glowstone, 3 blocks away from the spawner, like so. Then you will come out 3 more blocks, and we can delete these 2, and then come out 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and then surround this thing like so, ensuring that you have a 2 block gap all the way around the spawner itself. This will render this spawner inactive. Now I have my difficulty set to easy, as you saw there just a second ago, and these blazes aren't spawning, which is weird, and I think that's because this is a converted world. So never mind that, but this does render this inactive. Blazes won't spawn, but it'll still be activated by the player. So next thing you want to do is start digging down 6 blocks underneath the blaze spawner. And I go 6 blocks because the spawner itself has a mob cap, and when the blazes drop 6 blocks below it, it no longer counts towards that mob cap, basically making it to where you can infinitely spawn these blazes in. Now spawners spawn in a 3.5 block radius around the spawner, so we are going to need to go out a 4th block, and then the 5th block would be your wall. So you want to dig this all the way around the entire spawner, and we are going to go ahead and dig out the rest of this, make a quick cut, and then I'll bring you guys back in and we will start working on the next part of this farm. Alright, so we got this thing completely dug out. We have some red nether brick indicating our outside areas of the farm. This one I'm standing on is the center. We come out 4 blocks. This would be a wall here. And we will place in a couple blocks here. 2 or 3, 4. That's the center. 2, 3, 4. Everything is 5 blocks away from the center of the farm. Your platform will end up being a 9 by 10 when we're done, but for now we're just going to do the 9 by 9. You need an extra bit on the platform, and I will show you why in just a little bit. So we got the last little bit of the platform. When you're building this in your world on survival, most likely you won't have to build this platform, but 1 out of the 2 blaze spawners I did actually require a platform to be built. Now, for above the spawner, you only need to go 2 blocks and then you could place your roof in. I recommend using glass for this just so that mobs don't spawn on it and you can actually see in. The generated structure is 3 blocks tall by default when you dig this thing out, so I just go ahead and fill this in 3 blocks all the way across. You can do whatever you want. Obviously, this is just what I do or what I've done. As glass is a little bit, just you got to smelt it and all that. So one thing to note too, we will have our kill chamber on this side and we will have our rails going in this direction across the farm. So let's continue building this wall. I actually need to knock this out. Or no, you know what? We'll put it on this side. I told you that we needed 1 more layer, so we will put it on this side, and that's just so that the rails make a complete loop. Rather than knocking out what I just placed in, I'll just build another little platform. So now we'll surround the entirety with solid blocks. And right here would be our start. Rails will loop around and go to the other end. When we place the rails down, I'll show you that if you have an odd number, obviously you can't loop it around. I'm not making any sense. I'm rambling. Let's see. So I did smelt up or grab some glass. You'll need about 7 stacks for this farm if you build it the way I built it, or am going to build it. And you come up after this 3rd block here and just place glass all the way around the entire farm. Now, as I said before, you need to put 2 blocks on top of the spawner, and then your platform will be at 3 blocks above. And that just keeps the blazes from spawning on top of the spawner and messing up your spawn rates. So I'm going to fill this thing completely in all the way around, and I will be back. Alright, so a couple of things to note here. We got this thing completely filled in. Down here on the bottom, I told you guys you needed this little platform. It only needs to be 2 high, and then you need to drop back in 1 block and build this all the way up so that the top side of your farm is a 9 by 9. Otherwise, the lighting part of this will not work. At eye level with the glowstone, you need to leave that space open and then solid blocks underneath that. On one side of the farm, you will need to go 7 blocks all the way across with the glowstone, as you can see we've done here. And directly opposite, we have the same feature. Now on these other 2 sides, you only need to go 5 blocks, and that's the same on the other side. And that's just so that you're only pulling in the glowstone. You'll pull a full section in on one side, a full section in on the other side, and then you will have 5 in the middle, pulling all the glowstone back. So we'll start the lighting system by placing in some repeaters like so, and these need to be on no tick delay. Then we will come up with a block like so, and out with a block like that. And we'll run this all the way down, this one all the way down, and then on this block here we need to place repeaters all the way down, and these all need to be on 3 tick delay. I did a tutorial on this double piston extender not too long ago. If you missed that, it's a quick little video. You don't have to listen to me talk for another 3 minutes. We need to run blocks like so, and then place redstone dust on all these blocks all the way across here and here. Now in survival, this next part is a little trickier, but you need to place 2 pistons in like so all the way across for the lights. come back out, grab our observers, and we will place these in like so, and then finally placing in a solid block in front of them. Now I recommend before leaving you go ahead and slab this up just to make it unspawnable, so you don't have to deal with baddies if you come out here to check anything. Now underneath here we will want to place a power input, as this block is the input block. So to solve that problem with not having a lever, we will just place down torches all the way across the 7 blocks here. And I missed one. There we go, one more. And now this farm is technically on. And by default, I have this wired up so it's on, and then we switch it off to actually run the blazes through their course, collecting the blaze rods and the experience. So down here on these 2 blocks, this is where your actual input line will go. We'll have repeaters running into the block like so. They don't need to be on any sort of delay. And then redstone dust here. So now we just need to grab a lever, and I can show you guys that this, you can toggle it on and off, and then we will put in the rest of the lights. You guys can do the same, and we'll move on to the next section of the farm. Full retraction, full extension. Very nice, very simple. And now we will do this all the way around the rest of the farm. Alright, so we got the rest of the lighting system put in place, and that's just one circuit done. We're about halfway through the farm now. We got some rails to place in, a crushing chamber, and then wire it all up. So next thing I want to do is go ahead and start placing in rails throughout this entire farm. So I said I was going to come in this way and come out this way as well, so we'll punch out these 2 blocks. We'll extend this out, and this side will actually come out 3 blocks from the farm. And then it'll be a 4th block will be our turn, and then we'll come out like so. Perfect. So to start this farm off, you want a couple of rails just coming into the farm so stuff doesn't connect, and then you need to take your powered rails all the way down and put in regular rails to turn it, and then just do this zigzag pattern all the way down. This does use a lot of resources. I know it's not a cheap farm, but it works flawlessly. I will say that I spent about 5 minutes, 10 minutes in here, and can repair tools and gain enough levels to do some enchanting. So now we are rounding the very end here, and you'll see after this layer, I believe, I lost count, yes. This would have been our 9th layer here, and it would have just continued on had we not put in that 10th little layer on the platform. And this is just so we can have the blazes make their happy way to where we will kill them. So off these regular rails here, you're going to want 3 powered rails, 3 powered rails on this side, and then your 2 activated rails will go here. We need to go underneath and power all this stuff. You could use levers, they're the cheapest. You could put torches down, you could put redstone blocks, it doesn't matter. Just got to have it so that the powered rails are on. Now that should have powered everything, yep, to this point. Now we will need a lever here to turn these powered rails on, a lever here as well. And then we need to power the activated rails. So I can well, you know what? We actually don't want it here because that's where our kill chamber is going to go. So we will come around the other side and power the activator rails here. Like so. So this is directional. When things come across it, it will push the item or entities out of the minecart to the right. So that's very important when building this farm. You could do it that way, that you just have to run your minecarts a different direction. So now to build a kill chamber, you just have to put in a little 2x1 gap, and we'll grab some glass and we can extend this down. Very, very simple. I recommend only putting glass in the front of it on survival. I did have glass surrounding mine. I've actually changed that out. Blazes tend to glitch through the glass. They don't pop out at you, but they just kind of pop back into where my redstone and stuff was. So we will want a hopper collection system underneath this thing, so that when you kill the blazes, you automatically collect their blaze rods. That was something I didn't add on the list, so that would make it 4 hoppers total. And then we need a temporary block because I can't shift while flying. There we go. We'll delete that, and then we will run our blocks around this farm, or around this kill chamber like so. And there we go. Get that last hopper out there. And now you can put a chest there, or you can route it to some kind of collection system. It doesn't matter. We're just going to leave it a hopper for now. Then we'll go ahead and fill the rest of this backside in. There we go. We'll place the glass back in. And now we have our chamber complete. We need to go ahead and place in solid blocks here, and you're going to need a sticky piston behind these solid blocks. And as a matter of fact, I should have put the sticky pistons in first and then the solid blocks. Let me grab a sticky piston. There we go. Solid blocks back in place. Perfect. So now all we have to do is wire this up to a crushing mechanism. With a button, we will do a decay clock, and you can use 6 comparators for that, and it will make this a perfect crush to where they are 1-kill punches. I still use my sword for the looting effect to gather blaze rods, but of course that's up to the person doing the farm. And you place in the comparators like so, redstone dust around the backside, and then we can have an input under this piece of redstone dust. Now, for sake of arguing, I wired this up wrong when I was doing it on camera. And I couldn't figure it out for a minute. You guys are going to get to kind of watch me do that. Basically, at this point, I put the comparators in backwards. I saw that. I fixed that. And then right here where I have that torch in place, I need to drop the redstone dust coming into it down by 1 block. So rather than seeing or hearing me ramble, I'm just going to kind of voice over a couple of things. You could wire all of this up that I'm going to do this system here to 1 button or 1 lever. I like having the multiple buttons in my farm so that I can control what each system does, whether it be the crusher. Well, the crusher would have to be separate, but you could have it going. Yeah, see, I got the redstone backwards. Realization that the comparators are the wrong way. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to do a tutorial here. This is my first official sitting in creative building this entire farm, and I'm doing it all from remembering building it on survival. So bear with me as I try to get this redstone worked out. Now we see it's still not working. We delete the torch, or we tried to pulse it, didn't work. Now we're trying to build the same exact dang thing over here, thinking that the reason it's not working is because we can't just power the bottom side of that dust, which you can. Like I said, all we got to do is drop this repeater down, and it would have been fixed. Oh, I spent a couple of weeks building this farm and perfecting it. It started out with just the minecarts. The reason I do the minecart collection system is when you enter and exit the world, or enter and exit the nether, minecarts that are in motion have a tendency to kind of glitch out and stop, and then some minecarts continue on, and then eventually everything's going backwards and you got to get in there and manually reset it. I put in the lighting system because I'm going to have multiple people on the server using the farm, and I don't want blazes to continue to spawn while people are standing there doing enchanting or whatever, and then they leave the farm and there's a bunch of entities sitting there, and eventually it gets crammed up, and it's no longer usable as a farm. We'd have to go in and do some special stuff. So here's where I finally realize the error of my ways, and we drop down the redstone, and we simply grab a repeater, place it in the dust like so, and bam, there, now it's working. So it was just a simple error on my part. So you want glass in the front of this thing so they have something to kind of smash up against. And like I said, I recommend turning this all into solid blocks so that the blazes don't get pulled through or pushed through the glass for whatever reason. It's been a thing, it's always going to be a thing, I don't know. Now up here on the top side, you want to go ahead and get some normal pistons. You could use sticky pistons in solid blocks, it doesn't really matter. Normal pistons are just a tad bit cheaper. You want to place one here, and you want to place one here. Now with those in place, we need to wire them up, and that's not going to work. Oh, this is easy. Just place that there, and then we can have a button or a lever there. Same thing here. There we go. And, you know, we could do a torch, but then it would be... No, that doesn't actually work. So we'll just place dust. I'm pretty sure this will work. And dust here, and then a lever on the front. Yep, and a lever here. You could wire those up to one lever, but that just stops the blazes from spawning, and then you can have a little crushing session. Kill the blazes that have been crushed. This way new ones aren't falling in there that haven't been crushed yet. Then once it's all done, you can open it back up and new blazes will fall in. Alright, sorry about the pause there, had a little cough. Now what we want to do is we're going to have to kind of block this in. Obviously the blazes, when they come across here and hit the activator rails, they're not going to want to pop in, they're just going to want to go wherever they want to go. On these corners I recommend placing glass, so when the blazes come through, they go through the glass and they don't clip the edge of a solid block, taking damage, otherwise you will kill them in the crusher. So the rest of this can just be solid blocks. You can see it's a pretty tight squeeze with the redstone for the lighting system, but it is very doable. Now we'll bring this line all the way across to here, and then we will have this line here. There we go. Actually, we'll leave this open for now. We need to place in glass all the way down here eventually. The minecarts will be coming this way, so this is where we're going to intercept them to collect them when we're done killing off our blazes. So to do this, you want to place in a couple of rails and go ahead and power this, and just see which way that this rail wants to naturally go after it's been powered and unpowered. And it wants to go naturally that way, so for our wiring purposes, we're going to want this thing by default going the right way to killing the blazes, and then we'll wire that torch in later. We want, when we flip the lever, that minecart track goes this way that we're building out, so that the blazes can, or the minecarts can be collected and redistributed the next time somebody uses the farm. Alright, so you build this little Y shape out here, and we're going to do some more of the rail trickery. We'll place in a powered rail here, we'll place in... Actually, that rail can go away. We need a couple rails here, and then we need a rail here, and then place this in. So we want to find the default way, and it looks like it wants to go right, but the best way to find out is just to power it and depower it, and naturally it wants to go to the right. So this is where we're going to have our collection side, and then the other side will be our distribution side. So let's go grab the items that we need. And to build this, we'll grab all of our rails. We'll grab our hoppers, we'll grab our dispenser, we'll grab our cactus, we'll grab our sand, we'll grab our slab. And it can be any old slab, that doesn't matter, that's at your discretion. Just like the glass and stuff, you don't have to use it. Red glass. And we already have that stuff on us, so we don't need to grab it, but we will pull it out of the chest. Just for grins. So we want to place in a couple of hoppers that are going to feed into a dispenser, and I fell. And then we'll have our rails running on top like so. And we need to place a couple of blocks underneath as we are going to use sand. You need something for the sand to rest on as it's a block affected by gravity. So we'll place that here. And we can place our cactus on top, and then a slab on top just so the cactus doesn't grow. Now actually, what did I do wrong here? Oh, I deleted the block that needed to be in there. This does need to be 4 long at least, not 3. Oops. No harm, no foul. We'll just push it out 1 more block. That's how we had it originally. I don't know why I deleted it. But there we go. And then we'll place in a temporary block here. Place a block there, and then we'll put our hoppers back. And then our rails back. So on this side, we're going to have a dispenser here, which I already have in my inventory. There we go. That dispenser needs to be facing up. I said up. And we need a powered rail on top of it. Okay. Then we need a regular rail. And then we're going to need a detector rail in front of that. That's where your 1 detector rail goes. The detector rail is going to have 2 jobs. It's going to power the rail so that it turns, so that your minecart goes on the right track. And then it's also going to send a pulse around to the dispenser to fire out the next minecart. So we can go ahead and wire this up very simply. Yep, by placing 2 blocks underneath. Delete this block and a piece of redstone dust can go on there, and then we just need to bring it up to this block here. This should be fairly simple, provided, you know, I'm wiring it up, so. And we just need to place a repeater in, a couple pieces of dust, and we should be good to go. I don't think that dust actually touches that block, so I don't think that's actually going to work. I know you can do that if you place a repeater into the block and dust on top of the block, but I don't think it works the other way. So we'll simulate that with a lever. Yeah, it doesn't work. I didn't think so. Okay. So we could just... Could we run redstone dust straight into it? No, because it'll be powered. But it does turn it, as you see there. Yeah, it does turn it. We can move that lever, but it's still powered. Oh, it's powered by this side. So what if we move the lever? This one's easy. We can just move it. Nope. Nope, that won't work. Let's just put it on the side. Okay. And we'll just put a regular rail there instead. Now if we power this on, you can see it switches as the minecart would come across it. Perfect. You are going to need a block behind the dispenser so that the minecarts have something to bounce off of when they get dispensed. Excuse me. And then we are going to want a signal running into this from a button somewhere. That's why I said I like to have my circuit kind of broke up. My lever that turns the rail and my it turns the lights off, and then I'll have a button wired up to this at a control panel. Let's clear out some of this junk that I don't really need. I can just grab it out of the inventory. I said clear it out. There we go. And we'll grab our 4 minecarts and we will place those in the dispenser. That's where they can rest until we start this farm up. Like so. So now we can fill this in. We do still need to run a repeater chain off of that same dust, firing into the dispenser so that it will disperse a minecart, and then it'll have a delay, and then it'll dispense another minecart, and then a delay. It'll do it 4 times. It'll have a 5th delay, but it won't fire anything because there's nothing in the dispenser to be fired. Over here, where this cactus is, I recommend placing in solid blocks kind of all the way around where your minecart would be. This helps guide your minecarts into the hopper for collection. And if there are any blazes in the minecarts when they get destroyed, the blazes will be suffocated to death. We were just trying to make this farm completely lag-friendly and server-friendly for the realm. So they'll suffocate in that little area. Just an added feature, unintended feature, really. You will need to fill this completely in with glass all the way. That's just so the blazes don't really pathfind. And then we need to close up this front section here. I forgot to do that. so that we kind of force them into that tunnel. So we are about complete with this. We've got our redstone wired up for the crusher. We need to wire up the lighting. We still need to wire up the rail switch for starting up the farm. So you can place these anywhere. I have them along the same wall as my farm. But for this demonstration, we will just run a line off into this torch, which will flip the rail the right way that we need when the lever is activated, starting up the farm. So we are going to need to grab some things, repeater and a torch. This time we're going to put the torch in the right place. And actually I don't want that torch there. I wanted a repeater here, so we'll just extend this out. Never mind. Then we'll just run a line of dust all the way across to the lever. Off this same line is what we will tie the lighting circuit into up to here. So we'll build a torch tower up and then connect all the lighting together. And that's how we'll feed it all the way around from the one lever. Alright, well, we'll place that torch there. We will have this, I was wrong before, we will have the minecart default this way. You want the minecarts being collected when the lights go on. So I was right in doing that, just had to do a quick little change there, no big deal. We can grab a signal off of this guy and then wire these guys up. We'll build a little torch tower to the side. How do I want to do this? Yeah, delete that block. We'll just have a piece of redstone dust. So this will turn it off. That would turn it back on. This would turn it off. And this would turn it back on. So there we go. Simple enough. Now we can just run a repeater into that torch and we can connect this up to the line. Which actually shouldn't be too hard if we just take the line off of there. We'll stair step it up. Like so. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Perfect. Didn't run out of signal length. Put a piece of dust here. And now what we need to do is we need to connect these 4 modules together. So to do so, I recommend placing a repeater here and then dust all the way across. And this is just to boost the signal as we bring it around. You could count your signal strength out and save yourself on some repeaters, but this is just how I built it in the CC realm. You could slim up the redstone a little bit. And one more final loop around here should connect the entire system, or entire lighting system, to our master switch. With just a few more bits of dust. Whoops. These don't need to be on a delay. Perfect. So now if we look, the minecarts would be collected over here. And the system is shut off, or the dispenser, I'm sorry, the spawner is shut off. So I was talking about a repeater delay, repeater chain. We'll build that, and we'll also wire up the button to fire the dropper to start the farm. So that's where our dust comes down off the detector rail. We will step it up. And we want to have a 2-block wide platform like so, going down a fair bit. So this would be our line like so, and we will have 3 repeaters going this way, we will have 4 repeaters going this way. Some dust coming up, dust in the back, and then dust going into the dispenser. Turn all of these to 4-tick delay, and that's almost a perfect delay for firing the minecarts. So last little bit is to wire that guy up, and we will go ahead and place, I guess we can place a button next to this guy. That'd be a little difficult to wire that up. So we'll just place it on this side. These don't matter where you place the place these buttons and levers. We just want a kind of a master control system. Now if we place that up like so and then just run this line all the way down, and underneath our delay, we can start bringing this down by 2 blocks. There we go. Now you simply run a redstone line. The 2 won't connect because of the solid blocks above the dust. We'll run this around and then up, and then we'll place a repeater here just to boost the signal, and then bam. That is your starter pulse to actually kick off the entire farm. So now, that's pretty much everything wired up. The entire farm is complete at this point. We can flip the lever, and you will see that all the lights have been retracted, and blazes would start to spawn. And you can see the rail has been switched so that the blazes are going to the kill chamber. Now if we hit the button, nothing happens. Oh, I need a piece of dust right here. There we go. Now we hit this. 1 minecart's dispensed. You can see the repeater chain. Uh-oh. I mean, they go, but we just probably need to do that. And that would make it a little bit better. You can see we have 3 minecarts in the farm and the 4th one coming around. Yeah, I don't know why these guys are not spawning like they should be. Like I said, I think it has to do with converting the world, and something's not working. I don't know. We can't. No, it'll just grab the spawner. I guess I can grab some spawn eggs and kind of simulate some blaze spawns. Clear out the inventory. Tab over. I'm starting to learn this menu pretty well. There we go. So we'll drop down in here. We'll just throw a few blazes in this farm. Spam it. And then we will get out of here. So you can see they're being collected. This farm, obviously I spawned in a lot of them. Typically the spawners spawn 4 blazes at a time, which is why we have 4 minecarts. And then they will slowly collect down here. I'll throw a couple more in here just to simulate that. They will bunch up at the activator rail, just a couple of them, and then they'll start bumping each other down into the hole. You close your levers to stop them from hopping and crush them. This is the longest part, waiting for these guys to be crushed. No more can get down in here, which is very nice. And then you can come in here and simply 1-punch them. Looks like some didn't crush. Oh man, I broke my farm. We're in creative, dummy. Anyway, as you can see, you can 1-punch them to death. You can hit them with the looting sword. It's no big deal. And I broke some redstone. There we go. All fixed. And you can see the farm's still going. If no more spawned in, it would clean itself up pretty good. And this is typically how it ends, is with just 1 or 2 blazes chilling in here. I forgot a piece of glass. It's no big deal. We've made this to where there's 1 or 2 blazes hanging out, and this area never gets laggy, and I've had a lot of people in there using it. And that guy is stuck up there. I don't know how. Okay. He must have been on top of the glowstone and then... No, I don't know. I don't know how he got in there. Funny things are happening. But that's it. Sorry about a little bit of the hodgepodge in here. I was building this from memory, so forgive me. Now your farm is completely off. You'll see the blazes actually get over here into the suffocation chamber, or they're sitting on the cactus also dying. It's very nice. And everything is nice and tidy. It's a huge farm. But I hope this helped you guys. Like I said, again, I apologize. We're building everything from memory. If you enjoyed this or it helped you out, leave a like, comment. Don't forget to subscribe.